It is interesting to have a werewolf coven.
Yeah,
that's essentially what that was, you know.
Yeah, that's also funny because it's just like it's such a grounded idea of like you become like a vampire or a werewolf, and then like you like what if it was like reverse? You just enter a werewolf society and you're like, all right, now we get the fuck eat people, right? And they're like, whoa, dude,
we stopped doing that.
Yeah,
yeah. Hey, we're werewolves. We still like cook and eat our food. What are you doing?
We're not
You're just killing people.
This
We're
isn't
animals.
the 60s. Jesus Christ.
The 1860s?
No, I thought like civil rights or something.
Oh.
Yeah. I like how they stop killing people, but it's as early as the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Well,
werewolves
not
are
my
like,
dad.
Swallow this.
Hey, welcome back to Reasonably Afraid, where we're reasonably afraid.
that's pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty good. On today's episode, we're talking about part 2 of our series on werewolves. And that includes minor discussion of the movie we already talked about in part 1, which was American Werewolf in London. Make sure you check that out if you haven't yet.
Bam.
But part 2, we're talking about The Howling, Joe Dante's 1981 classic.
Ow!
This movie runs 91 minutes. I quit. That's the final straw. Movie runs 91 minutes. It stars Dee Wallace. You know what? It doesn't matter. Here's a name I like.
Yeah.
Here's two of my favorite names from this list. They're not even the top billing. Slim Pickens. Love it.
That's a name?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And
dude.
Dick Miller.
Fuck yeah.
If you don't know Dick Miller, he plays cameos in just about every goddamn horror movie on the planet, but especially if it's a Joe Dante movie. He's in The Burbs. He first came on the scene in Roger Corman's Bucket of Blood.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a great film. We'll watch it sometime. It's really cool. They make fun of pretentious people, so that's fun.
Oh, that's always nice.
In 1959, they make fun of the original hipsters.
Whoa.
Like the coffee shop beatnik hipsters. So it's pretty
Yeah.
good. I didn't get to say this fun fact though from before. Is actually that I forgot. Doesn't matter. Fuck it. Anyway, there's too much going on. I'm gonna start doing drugs. Anyway,
Dude, it's up to you.
oh
Yeah.
oh, thanks guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, I support anything you do because, you know, I'm a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This says special effects. The one of the people who you'd say is the man, Raputin. Of course, he was the one who got left with this job.
Sorry.
You were gonna say invented poutine? Yeah,
I
it's
said
stupid.
it before. It was going to be...
Yeah, you said in the last one.
I know, but it's like... That's
You
what
wanna do
makes
it anyway?
funny. Well, that's because I thought that's what make it funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
For
it
them,
now?
it's a
I
week
mean-
apart. For you, you said it like less than an hour ago.
I'll let you say it again. You want me to say it?
So
for
what,
it?
can you say his name again?
Yeah. And this stars okay, ready? Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the special effects on this movie was spearheaded by none other than Rob Bottin,
Who's a known racist. and an inventor of the poutine. Canadian hero.
None of that's true. I think it's important that we say that none of that's true. Oh God, I love it. I love this podcast because all my friends who are into horror hate Sean. They hate him.
Dude, I'm fucking with you, Rob. Dude, relax. It's fine.
I'm just kidding. They love it.
Oh, that one.
They love Sean.
That one got a tear, like down the right side.
I think horror people like Sean because it's fun to watch somebody just have a blind react to something and you know they mean it.
Yeah.
Because you know all those blind reacts, like so many of those are
Fake.
faked. But you know that Sean is just coming out with like, wait, what?
Dude, Sean was like genuinely terrified at the witch.
That was the scariest movie.
You had a
I've seen.
nightmare,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Which is surprising because like you were a little shaken up by Hereditary.
Yeah. I
Like
don't
you
know.
were
Witch just
locked
did
in
it.
on Hereditary.
Yeah, that did it for me. Anyways, this is the
Okay.
movie, but it was scary.
So this movie, the special effects were done by Rob Bottin. He hadn't done The Thing just yet. This was actually right before that, and most people credit him for his work on The Thing. But really, I mean, when you think about this movie, we talked about some of the issues some of the stuff we didn't like about it necessarily, but he was able to do a whole lot before he was even known as like the man, right? Because Rick Baker left this film, and then he was left in charge of the entire special effects department. Just imagine one day you go into work and the guy who runs everything is like, I gotta go. And you're like, wait, what happens now? Like, you have to do it.
Yeah, this is your job now, dude.
Yeah. And, it's awesome that it happened because think about what would we even have the special effects on The Thing if Rick Baker hadn't left to go do American Werewolf in London?
Yeah, that's
cool.
how I became manager of Cold Stone Creamery when I was 16 years old.
Is that real?
Yeah, everyone just quit.
Me and all my friends had that happen too.
Yeah, everyone just quit. They couldn't
manager.
call me manager either. They were like, you're a shift lead, and I was just like, all right, well, do I just do shift lead things? And they were like, no, you have to like count all the money and bring it to the bank. And I was like, I'm 16.
Hey, can we just stop for a second? So just cover some of Rob Bottin's his whole what is it called, a portfolio. So he's done a lot of great films, but the most notable, of course, would be things like The Thing, The Fog. He did RoboCop, Total Recall, Witches of Eastwick.
Those are fucking bangers, dude.
Yeah, dude. Fight Club.
Hell yeah.
That. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, this was just a fun one I threw in for you guys. Mr. Deeds. Why not?
Mr. Deeds is a fucking fantastic movie. That's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies.
I don't know what all
I'll
he
be
did
honest,
on that.
actually, that's like the one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Really? Yo, you gotta watch Mr. Deeds. It's so good.
I'd say it's right above 8 Crazy Nights as the lowest down in terms of like what people have seen.
Oh, like it's like the most different, you mean, right? Yeah, it's the most different like type of, because like he doesn't play that like lunatic he does and that he usually plays.
Right.
Mr. Deeds is he's like a sweet guy.
Yeah.
He's like a really sweet guy.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's good. It's a fun movie.
So the only thing about Rick Baker leaving and then putting Rob Bottin in charge is he's a bit of a perfectionist. And Robert Picardo, the actor in this film that had to wear the most amount of makeup for the most amount of time, he spent like days with him because there's the prep work, practicing it, getting things ready for the shots, then which he did with other people. But even with the prep work, he still said that it was like 6 to 8 hours a day getting him ready to be in the makeup.
That's wild.
Which nowadays, they've got better equipment for all that stuff. But back then, it was just one dude staring you in the face while he fucking hooks
Dude, I don't
you up.
even like to I don't even like to talk to my barbers.
Yeah.
It gets awkward after a while.
6 hours?
Yeah, that sucked.
30 minutes, you're like...
After 30 minutes, like, well, it's usually the intro, like, hey, how you from? What are you doing? Where you from?
Yeah.
How did you like being a barber? And then after that, it's just like, that's like 10 minutes. And then the next 20, I'm just like, okay.
I go to Mexican moms now because like my hair's like pretty
so you
short.
don't have to worry about it because of the language barrier.
Well, no, actually, she talks about God.
Oh, this is worse.
Would be great if she worked on this film. She's like, you all should really think about what you're doing.
That was the worst Mexican accent.
Yeah, that was bad, dude.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to make sure we can keep doing a podcast.
Yeah, put a little Florida in there, dude. Come on. Step it up.
Well, then it'd be Puerto Rican.
I didn't believe you
that would
were
be Puerto
my
Rican.
Mexican hairdresser.
Not for one bit.
No?
No.
Go ahead, hit him with it. Don't do it.
Yeah,
He does a
I mean, I
he
can
does a
do
shitty
it.
Mexican
Nobody
accent.
fucking care. You think I do a shit Mexican
just
accent?
kidding. I just
I do a
fucking
pretty
with you.
fucking good Mexican accent, fool. Okay, it's not far off from like some of the normal way I speak too.
Oh, it's falling. I can only cuss.
Oh, like puta.
Yeah.
Very white of you.
Yeah.
Hijo de puta madre.
Putas way.
Okay, we got a little accent on there. Let's get back to the episode. Do you need to fix that real quick?
No, go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Holy shit. Anyway, he said in his complaining,
Yeah.
he had said to people, "I'm Yale trained. I've performed on Broadway, and now I have to sit in this makeup for 6 hours so that someone can melt my face." And then another guy who was like the script supervisor or somebody was like, "Yeah, man, maybe read the whole thing first."
Ooh.
So a fun little back and forth, assuming that was fun.
What about a guy who's just like, I'm Yell trained? You mean Yao? Yeah, I can't even say it now. Fuck this bit. I don't even want. You know where it's going, right?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been worth it.
No, I'm Yell trained. You mean Yale? No. All right, there we go. We got it. We got there. Fuck off.
I can't wait for him to see that later.
No,
and go,
that was good, actually. I like that. I actually take it back. I'm being serious.
You like
That's
it?
pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was class. It was good.
Let me help you.
That was a highbrow joke.
There you go.
It was yeah.
So before we hop into fun facts, obviously the special effects in both of these films is one of the biggest staples. But we do have a lot to talk about in terms of the movie itself. Sean or Ray, either one of you can jump in first. But is there a part in this film that really spoke to you? Good answer.
God damn it. I don't know. I mean, I guess the opening scene is fucking wild.
The opening scene. The opening scene is fucking crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Like that's for the 80s too.
Yeah.
Like that's a fucking really hard sell. Like holy shit. How did they? How was this before or after Gremlins?
It was before.
This was before. So like he wasn't even making bangers like that, and they were just like, dude, do whatever fucking comes to your heart. And he was just like, I want to do this. That's
I mean,
fuck, man.
I mean that whole sequence is it's kind of unnerving, really.
Right.
You know?
He like forces her to watch a snuff film of him like sexually assaulting another woman.
Yeah.
And then tries to sexually assault her.
Yeah.
Little do you know he's a werewolf the whole time, which is like the least bad thing that he could be doing at that moment. Like that's like it's like I don't even give a shit. You're a fucking werewolf, dude. What the fuck?
Can I ask him about that scene as unnerving as it was? So they really just like fucking lost track of her? They're like, oh, okay, so make the call from the telephone and then go there and we'll be right behind you. And then they're like, wow, where'd she go?
Yeah, like
Because they kept losing signal,
Yeah, honestly, that was
because of the neon
But you
lights.
would know, you would just have a guy near the phone.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to be honest, she might get sexually assaulted right now. We lost it. She just walked in there confidently like, no, hey, we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
I'm about to go in.
Yeah, just don't walk by any neon lights.
And then luckily he just had that young gun cop just go in and he's like, fuck it, I heard someone's in here. He was just shot.
Yeah,
They got him.
The idea that they're just out of undercovers that night. No one's just hanging out
No
near
one's
her.
hanging out.
There's actually the moment where she goes into the phone booth to call and check in and be like, okay, I'm going to do this, They're trying to, even with the phone call and everything, they would know that she's going to be stopping at this phone booth because it's in 1981. There's no cell phones.
Yeah.
Like somebody would have been tailing her closely. So a little tie-in. In the phone booth, excuse me, there's a man who's waiting to use the phone booth behind her. The man behind her waiting to use the phone booth is none other than Roger Corman, the king of exploitation films himself. The man, the maestro. If you don't know who Roger Corman is, make sure you're gonna. That's part of what we do on this podcast is tell Sean things. Roger Corman is sort of like he's the godfather of horror, exploitation horror, especially. He basically is the dude who, I mean, everybody started under him. James Cameron started under him, working as like,
oh shit.
I mean, there's a lot of, that's just one of many, but there's a lot of big time directors who started as like PAs and like office admins and stuff, just working on movies with him and then climb their way up. and he was like the graduation school for like really great directors.
But what
That's
is
dope.
exploitation horror? Like, what's an example?
Exploitation would be just like when you, if you have something that the subject is taboo, as opposed to like, because it sounds like it would have a more negative connotation, like you're exploiting the people, but it's more
Right.
the subject matter is exploitation, because the Hollywood, basically what happened back in the day is the Hollywood system didn't have a way for independent filmmakers to make anything, because it was more expensive to get film and everything back then.
Right.
So you just have to go around and raise money yourself. And the only reason, or the only way you could get people to show up to whatever drive-in movie or small art house or a small theater that you could convince to show your film would be to have like a hook. I mean, media's never changed. It's always what is going to grab attention. You know, now we do it in a, you know, what can you put in the first 3 seconds of your clip to get somebody to pay attention?
Yep.
Back then it was like, what do you call it? And he's like, you know, fucking Sleepaway Camp 3. You know, like they just tried to think of whatever, you know, there was a series of women in prison movies that were very popular. They usually involved naked women in a prison.
Like a protected, you shouldn't make horror movies about women in prison.
What do you mean?
Is that taboo?
No, it's taboo societally for whatever time period you're in.
Right.
You know?
So at the time period, it was just like snuff films. And... What? Werewolves?
You're saying he just wait,
I'm so lost.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. So that guy, like when you bring up women in prison, you're saying those are exploitive horror movies.
They're called exploitation.
Oh,
it's just it's just the reference for things that are outside the norm of like, hey, it's the story about like, you know, there's these two people who fall in love. You know, they're like you're not gonna make Gone with the Wind if you're making exploitation.
Is that specifically? Sorry, we're going on this stage. I just want to fully figure it out. Like, is that specifically for, like that kind of more underground, low budget era that you're talking about, or did that translate to the big box office too with like mainstream movies?
So eventually it started to evolve, right? So like back in the day, I mean, you just kind of referred to exploitation as anything that wasn't like a mainstream storyline.
Oh, okay.
Produced by a mainstream. And some things were unfairly called exploitation. A lot of them were actually, but basically horror just kind of had to own it. Because they were just trying to make whatever they thought was going to be cool. And
I mean, like that beginning sequence, is this movie then? That feels like that was.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Okay. Because imagine going to, you know, imagine what 1981, think about what movies are coming out then out of the studio system. It's going to be stuff that's, you know, pretty straightforward, like romantic comedies and like, you know, dramas, like, and not a lot of there's some stuff that got a little racy coming out of the bigger studios, but for the most part, everybody was, especially like in the more conservative time of the early 80s with Ronald Reagan coming in, there was a lot of push for the cultural, clean it up, cultural thing. He had kind of rallied the Christian communities to vote right leaning, and then they started to push the MPAA to be a little bit harder about rating systems. And I mean, it's crazy.
During this time too.
Yeah.
Damn. Then this movie was, I mean, there was domestic violence on screen at one point.
Yeah.
He was a werewolf, so I don't know if that like, is better.
Yeah. Well,
no, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, is that what happens when you become a werewolf? Like now you're just like prone to hitting your wife?
Is it? Maybe. I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a part of werewolf lore.
I mean, they kill people because they can't, because they're animal instinct. So this one, the werewolves feel more like vampires.
Yeah, they do, because they're like, they can shapeshift whenever. They kind of like, They
don't require, it's not the old
school. They look more like bunnies.
They do look like killer dog bunnies.
Yeah, because they got like these weird long like ears. I don't know why were their ears so long. There was a one thing I didn't like about their like werewolves was how long their ears were.
Yeah. Well,
so I can hear you with my dear.
So the scene you're talking about actually got toned down from the novel.
Really?
So the novel is by a guy named Gary My handwriting is too fucking small. Brander. Brandner.
Gary Brand.
Gary Brandner. Yeah. He's the author of the Howling. He actually did his own screenplay for the second Howling movie. When they did the Howling 4, the original Nightmare, that one was actually closer to the original source material in terms of what wasn't covered in the film necessarily, and then using certain elements of that. But when we're talking about this first film, the novel actually has her being actually just straight up sexually assaulted.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Like in this one, she's been attacked.
Yeah.
And I think they already knew. They were like, the rest of this movie's pretty nuts.
Right.
They're like, we don't need to throw in a
Grape scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels more disrespectful just to say grape. I don't know. Whatever. We're in
I don't even know the
Sierra.
rules though. Like, are we gonna get pulled down for saying that?
It's a great point. Yeah. We definitely should.
Dude, don't
it.
say that.
What?
What did you say? A great point?
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Oh my god. That's so funny. I hate you so much. So speaking of the novel, Joe Dante actually was pretty public about how he didn't like the novel.
Really?
Which is wild to get a job directing a movie based on something and then just be like, yeah, the book kind of sucks. Like,
That's kind of, I respect that a lot.
Right. I really do. I relate to that of like having to work on content that you fucking hate.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'd be like, dude, if I was the author, like, fucking piece of shit, and they're like, you want us to get a new director? I'm like, no, like,
Dude, I gotta pay rent.
I mean, fuck him, but go ahead. No, fuck. I don't want to see what he does with it.
well, you know, Hollywood is notorious for just like we talked about. I Know You Did last summer. There's no lady was like, my daughter got murdered by some killer, so maybe don't make
That was
maybe don't twist my book into it being about a killer when it's not. And they were like, fuck you though.
Yeah.
we paid,
No, that
we
one was
paid you.
messed
Go
up. That
away.
wasn't cool. That was
not
just messed
cool,
up.
Yeah, like we paid you. Why don't you?
Yeah, he just said
well.
the movie. He wasn't a fan of the
Yeah,
book.
just
It's not
didn't
like
like
he
the
was like,
book.
I'm not a fan of his daughter.
You know
Okay,
what? That's a great point. Yeah. So this is really fun though. A moment a moment anybody would have just loved to see. Joe Dante had mentioned this several times in interviews. Most of it, through publications, not, it's not like he was like going on the news being like, this book sucks, come see our movie. He wasn't doing that, but he did do a lecture at, I think it was at the Hollywood Scriptwriting Institute. And he was doing a lecture there and he was talking about how he didn't like the book. And then he goes, finished his lecture and he ended with that. And then he goes, any questions? This guy raised his hand and he goes, yes, we have a question over here. And he goes, so you didn't like the book? And he goes, no, I don't like the book. He goes, oh, cool. I wrote it. And it's the guy.
Really?
Yeah, old Gary showed up because he knew. He was like, I'm going to show up. He's going to be talking shit about my fucking book. And then he showed up just to like make him feel weird.
Bro, this guy wants to throw hands with Joe Dante.
I respect both of these guys.
Yeah.
I love both these guys now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be funny if he raised his hand and he's like, hey, you didn't like this book? And he's like, no. He's like, hey, I didn't like the Burbs. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because this is the same director.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Burbs was garbage.
I love the Burbs, but it is fucking weird.
It's such a weird movie.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. So in that phone booth, when she's doing the phone call and Roger Corman's outside, there's a little smiley face sticker.
Yep.
And that's the
Smiley face sticker in the cabin when she stumbles upon like the killer's quarters.
right. And this killer, that's actually sort of like his calling card, right?
Yeah.
The same smiley face is left in different parts of Joe Dante movies.
Really?
Yep. Specifically, the one you can see it most clearly is in
The Watchmen.
The Gremlins.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Did he do The Watchmen?
Nope.
No,
he did not.
No,
Fucking piece of shit.
I don't fucking know, dude.
Well, anyway, so I'm going to refer to this as the Dante verse, but also one of the news reporters' names is Lou Landers, and that same news reporter shows up with the same name in Gremlins. They're in the same universe, dude.
Oh my god!
These fucking werewolves exist in a universe with
We're
the gremlins.
How many gremlins would it take to kill one werewolf?
That's a great question.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna let you answer it.
I say 5.
Say 5.
I say 5.
That's
At
it
least,
No.
at
for a
least.
werewolf.
I think like
I don't know. The gremlins seem
They're
like
pretty
they
vicious,
fuck,
that's
they
true.
seem like they were fucking like they do some damage.
I'm
It's
actually-
like at like 2 or 3 of them seem like they could do a lot of damage.
How much water's on them?
Ooh, and you know what?
Oh,
To
yeah.
kind of be honest, in this universe, these werewolves, they didn't seem as strong as the first one. I don't know. They
No,
kind of
because
went
that
down.
first one almost fucking leveled London.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that might just be due to London's infrastructure, though.
True. But these guys, I mean, one guy with a gun, one good guy with a gun,
What good guy would
killed like 7 werewolves.
Yeah, he did.
But he did. But he did bring.
Imagine what he could do in front of a school, like
Nope.
against a shooter. He would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So turn him
Werewolf.
around. Good.
Yeah.
Against the werewolf. No, he did round up.
It's
some
a school shooter werewolf.
Why is
It's a
it
school
using
chomper.
a gun? Why is it using a gun?
Why is he using a gun? He's a werewolf.
I mean, the sheriff was a werewolf and he still used the gun.
Oh, that's true.
He rather
Yeah.
had used the gun to shoot at them than
We
become
guess.
a werewolf
Yeah,
because the
it's
werewolves, they're
tradition.
not that strong.
It's tradition. Well,
Because of what?
He's a tradition. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a card carrying Republican. He's like, I'm gonna use his gun.
I'm a werewolf, but you can take this gun out of my cold dead hands.
I'm a werewolf, but I'm a Republican first.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'd say like actually, I think 5 is kind of close. Maybe 6, 7.
Yeah, I think
put-
5.
I think
five
under
could take
10.
'em.
I think under 10, 5 to 10.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say 10 if they're in their smallest phase.
Yeah.
But if
Oh,
but,
yeah,
but we got a
yeah.
couple of big boys.
If you
I'll
got a
give
couple
5.
big
Yeah.
boys, yeah.
I'll give you
yeah.
5. Dee Wallace, who played Karen, and Christopher Stone, who played Bill, were actually engaged in real life during the filming of this, which is fun. I don't really have anything to add to that. I just
Did
thought
they
it
get
was
married?
a fun fact.
Nice. Good for them.
You know, they always say if people were engaged on set and they never followed up, you know?
Yeah.
And I know they're probably like, well, you can Google that. Well, fuck you. I don't have time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got shit to do.
Yeah, we literally
Like
came
record
up with
an
this.
episode.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. So you guys remember the like esoteric shop that they go into with like
Yeah.
all the cool stuff?
Yeah.
So Dick Miller, the guy from Bucket of Blood and The Burbs and all that.
Yeah.
That guy is in the shop, and they actually, I don't think they say his name in it, but he's in the credits. And then just for like a fun addition, his name is Walter Paisley in Bucket of Blood. And then his name in the credits as the guy who works in the shop is Walter Paisley.
Oh.
So that's just like for fun, you know, little,
That's cool.
which is obviously just a little nod for horror fans. Excuse me. But in the shop, the set deck on this film, set decorator, was Robert A. Burns, who worked on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you and I saw the other night
Yeah.
at Cinespia. We got to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a graveyard with Janelle Monáe DJing and hosting, wearing a Leatherface
That's
mask.
so cool.
Big fucking screen.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
so
pretty dope.
awesome, dude.
It was pretty dope.
It was so sick.
They're giving away free shots too.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was sick.
And free tarot card reading. So that was
Yeah. yeah.
It's not my thing, but you know, I'm glad that they had it. Anyway, so in Texas Chainsaw,
Tarot
there's
cards are just blackjack for people who buy crystals.
Interesting. I think I know what that means.
remember in when
I like that.
you're like,
Yeah, it's funny. I think
Yeah.
it's
he said it to me and I didn't give him anything, and I think he's
Yeah.
been disappointed ever since.
I don't give a shit.
I know.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because
Anyway.
it's saying that it's all just bullshit and random chance.
So you remember in Texas
You-
Chainsaw? All right,
No, go ahead.
remember in Texas Chainsaw when they sit her down in that little chair so the grandpa can hit her with the hammer, you know, that chair they tie her to.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know if you noticed, but the armchair, the arms of the armchair are arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
It's
that.
pretty sick, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
So there's actually a chair in this shop that has the arms from Texas Chainsaw strapped to the chair.
Nice.
Mm.
And then there's other parts of the movie where the set decorator was just like, "Hey, I still got all this shit." And they were like, "Well, fucking bring it, dude."
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You think we don't want Texas Chainsaw stuff on this set? Hell yeah, we do. Bring that shit over. So they actually had Texas Chainsaw.
Just
Massacre
because they're
props.
werewolves doesn't mean they don't use chainsaws.
That's true.
Dude, that's
Dude.
actually pretty badass.
Oh,
Be
hey,
cool.
TM.
Werewolf like waving around a chainsaw.
whatever this timestamp is proof that that's our concept. So don't steal it. Fuck you.
Don't steal it.
Yeah.
Imagine that'd be so cool if you had a cop who's a werewolf with a chainsaw protecting our children at school.
That's really That's really good.
That's all you need.
Goddamn liberals don't want a good guy werewolf with a chainsaw protecting our children.
Man, all you need is a good dog with a gun and a chainsaw. And it's also not really a dog, it's more of a man wolf.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's the most American shit, dude. Shit that people in London wouldn't fucking get.
Couple little Easter egg stuff real quick. Lon Chaney, Lon Chaney Jr., who played the Wolfman. A picture of him as just a regular person is hanging up in the doctor's office. So that's a cool little. They have a lot of little nods like that. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of wolf themes things that just kind of like work their way in. The novel Howl by Allen Ginsberg is sitting by a phone in one scene. What does that say? You Can't Go Home Again by Thomas Wolfe. So they kept working in all these little things like that, and it's a lot of fun. Like the dog food brand not the dog food. The chili brand is it's called Wolf Brand Chili.
Yeah.
There's a Big Bad Wolf cartoon playing in the background during one of the kills.
I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, a lot of little just cool stuff I like that stuff because it's like they didn't have to do any of that. And they just did it because they were like, fuck it, man. Let's make it as cool as it can be. It's like they left it just for us, I really like that.
Oh,
it's cute.
That's passion.
Yeah.
Attention to detail.
Yeah. As mentioned in part 1, where I let Sean know that the 80s is chock full of OSHA violations.
No, what happened?
OSHA violations and other ethically questionable things.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
So in the last one, we talked about how in American Werewolf in London, they didn't do a closed set for the nude scene. And in fact, it kind of just let everybody loiter around so they could see a naked actress. Not super cool, but you know, you could say that, well, maybe she just didn't care and she was just letting you know that happened in an interview later, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one is a little more egregious. Elizabeth Brooks was told that her nude scene would be covered with smoke and fog and mirrors, and no one would actually see her naked body. And as you may remember from the film,
the mirrors seem worse.
Well, they're supposed to be covering more, like detracting the reflections. But anyway, and on top of that, she was not told that her naked body would be shown. She was in fact told differently, but there was nothing contractual about that. Also, Playboy got a hold of the pictures because they're from the film, so technically speaking, they are public.
Ish.
Yeah, I mean they're as long as the movie studio doesn't take issue with it, which they don't care because that's free advertising.
Yeah.
So without her consent, Playboy published her nudes. And as it turns out, she was only okay with doing the nude scenes because she was fine with being nude in front of everyone on the set, but she did not want the nudes out in the public, and she's kind of religious and did not take it super well. As far as I know, she never went and tried to sue. I couldn't find anything on that if she did, but it seems like she might have a case on her hands.
Yeah, for sure. That's basically revenge porn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's like a law in that too.
So super cool stuff. When we talk about equity and doing things in an appropriate manner, the 80s was the time of
debauchery.
We hadn't really figured it
us.
out.
There are two wolves.
One's okay with nudity and one's not. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Anyway, on a lighter note, there are 10 plus characters in this film that are all named after directors of other werewolf movie names or other movies that have werewolves in them, which is just a fun little thing that they wanted to throw in there. I'm not going to name them all because that's boring.
There's one named Landon, whatever. The guy from the other one?
John Landis?
John Landis.
No, they were not super chill with each other at this time.
I like to think like both studios were like across the streets from each other, and when they were filming, they could see each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got the fucking chainsaw shit.
It's just John Landis going, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. And then Joe Dante's like, no, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Final fun fact.
Oh, is that what you're gonna use for that scene? Is that what you're gonna use?
Sorry, second to last final fun fact. The colony, which was the place where, you know, they go to escape, you know, and everything after she's attacked. I don't know how to pronounce this. This is one of those things where it's like I got to do this kind of stuff ahead of time. Anyway, the county that it's the county that is the name of that the colony's in is the same as the village name in the Wolfman. So another little tip of the hat to the Wolfman. So as much as these movies are both very different from, I would say it's original source material of like folklore and like the first Wolfman movie, they do still find ways to pay respect in like interesting, cool, fun ways, little homages, tip of the hats, you know, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like that.
And finally, this film was shot over budget. They were pretty much out of money, and Joe Dante, we've seen what happens when you give Joe Dante too much money.
Oh yeah.
When you got to keep Joe Dante, you got to keep him fighting. You know, you can't just say, "Hey, Joe Dante, what do you need?" and then give it to him. You got to whatever he needs, give him half.
Yeah,
so he can make the Howling.
Make him resourceful.
Yeah, exactly. They were already over budget and they couldn't afford any more space to shoot anything else on a studio lot. So the only thing that hadn't been shot yet is the final transformation phase of the film. So they fucking shot it in low lighting in Joe Dante's office.
Really?
Oh, that was so the doctor's office was in Joe Dante's. It was just like his real office.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's wild.
Like, and dude, I think I'm right. You just can't give Joe Dante enough money.
Yeah, because that's like one of the better scenes. And they also do when the serial killer shows up.
Yeah.
And like, you know, the main character, one of the final characters with the silver bullets shows up.
Yeah.
So that was all his office.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking dope.
And it's shot with a lot of close-ups because they didn't have the money to do full, full pictures and everything, or full shots. But like when you really look at it, I mean, it came out fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really well done. If you want good stuff out of Joe Dante, you got to give him Rob Bottin and $12.
Yeah,
you say,
yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with a fucking masterpiece and, you know, revolutionizes special effects cinema. So
They're like, you want who? Tom Hanks? We got Pete Davidson. Go have fun.
all right, so we actually because the Howling is a little bit easier to get through, because even though a lot happens in this film, there really isn't like, it's not a lot of major location changes. Everything does happen. It feels like kind of quick, and then it's paced out, but it's all interpersonal stuff that happens over the course of the film, you know?
Right.
So we have some time. Do you guys want to talk about anything else in the film? Some
This one
fun
I didn't write
moments.
notes for, but I really liked the hand transformation.
Yeah,
Watching the werewolf's hand turn back into like a person's hand.
that was cool.
That
After it
was
had been
fucking
severed.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Cause like that's also like something I'm like, man, that must have been so hard to do with like no CGI, just fucking wolfed of human hand. There was a lot of cuts in it too, and like
Yeah.
it had to be because like there was no way you'd
No,
be able to. Yeah.
Yeah,
was
but it was
pretty good.
It was fucking gnarly.
Yeah,
though,
it was
too.
sick, dude.
Yeah, but it was still done in a way to where you're like, if you saw that in 1981, you'd be like, how the fuck? I mean, even now, knowing it's practical, you're just like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
really
I'm still trying to
incredible.
figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The nuns walking into the witchcraft bookstore, which was super inconsequential. It didn't lead anywhere.
No.
It didn't lead anywhere. It was just like, what the fuck are
With
these
Satan's
nuns
face right there,
up
just
to?
like,
Yeah.
that was fucking sick.
They're
Yeah.
just looking at it, and it's just like, are you even religious? Like, what are you
What are you
even
doing here?
baller? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think that was Joe Dante trying to slip in his little Joe Dante-ness, you know?
Yeah,
He's
you'd be
"Why
like,
don't you
wouldn't
come-"
it be funny if nuns walked in?
100%.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
sure, man.
I will say this, that's part of what makes 80s horror so much fun. It really does. So much of it was affected by studio meddling and like, you know, them having to cut stuff because of being threatened with X ratings and stuff for stuff that really, if it's an R rating, what the fuck do you need? If it's not straight up porn, it shouldn't get an X rating. Like,
which low key kind of was, because they ended up sending their pictures to fucking Playboy. So like to some degrees, yeah, it kind of was porn.
but that's the thing. It's like, you know, the studio afterwards, you know, hold them accountable or whatever. But like,
Right.
but that movie, I mean, both of these movies were threatened by the MPAA to not have full release.
Yeah.
Because if you get an NC-17 rating, you can't go anywhere but grindhouses and drive-ins and like small theaters. So like, they're like, yeah, you're not going to get a release if you don't do what we say.
Yeah.
And so
fucking
luckily,
Nazis.
yeah. Sure. Fucking werewolf Nazis, dude.
Fucking werewolf Nazis, dude.
What about you? Anything in this movie that was I mean, you seemed all hot and bothered, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean it was nah, it was good.
It was a much more serious film.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that
Yeah.
after the other one.
Yeah, they're two plot line wise, they're vastly different. The wolves themselves. Oh yeah, that's the final thing we can end on.
Yeah.
Which wolf and why?
Oh, yeah.
Can I start on this one?
Well,
Yeah.
before we get to that,
Okay,
though, I want
yeah.
to talk about the doctor getting shot and being like, oh, thank God.
That was funny.
Never have I felt so
Never
related to
related,
anything.
He delivered that well too.
Yeah.
You really believed.
He was like, oh, fucking finally.
Yeah. Well, he was the one that had fully embraced the idea of this curse and wanted it to be lifted, and the only way to do it is to fucking die.
Yeah. Well, he was also kind of pushing for like not being so fucking violent. He was like, we
Right.
don't have to like, we're like intelligent enough to not have to fucking be
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad guy.
No, he wasn't. I think he was just mixed up in the
Wrong crowd.
in the wrong crowd, the werewolf crowd. And they were all like, "Let's fucking murder people. We're
Yeah.
werewolves now." And he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, but we're kind of conscious of it. Like,
Yeah.
what do we don't
It is-
have." Like,
He
what
was
do-
one of the good ones.
Yeah.
It is interesting to have a werewolf coven. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's essentially
yeah.
what that was, you know?
Yeah, that's also funny because it's just like it's such a grounded idea of like you become like a vampire or a werewolf, and then like you like what if it was like reverse? You just enter a werewolf society and you're like, all right, now we get to fucking eat people, right? And they're like, whoa,
Yeah,
dude.
we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're werewolves. We still like cook and eat our food. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
we're not fucking.
You're just killing people.
This
We're
isn't the
animals.
60s. Jesus Christ.
The 1860s?
No, I thought like civil rights or something.
Oh.
Yeah. I like how they stopped killing people, but it's as early as the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Well,
werewolves
not
are
my
like,
dad.
yeah, they have news cameras now. Relax.
dude,
Which is
fucking
essentially what he
chill.
was saying. He's like, hey, we're like putting ourselves in danger just
Yeah,
being like
yeah.
this. And then at the end of the movie, there's like the news announces that there's a fire that just like burned down to this like spreading, which is not great for
No.
that area, you know?
No.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about the ending. Oh, we almost skipped it.
Yeah.
That
where-
shit
where-
is fucking gnarly.
where
dude.
she like turns into a werewolf.
And just to say, like, they know what they're doing. She's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for the greater good.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
But did they have to shoot her though?
Yeah.
I mean, she probably didn't want to be a werewolf and like hurt people and shit.
Yeah.
So she was just like, I'm gonna turn to a werewolf, shoot me with a silver bullet, but we'll do it on TV.
But
so they take it
again,
serious.
why are they choosing to hurt people? Like that's not. Why is that?
Oh, they haven't
Why is that
learned
like implied that they're gonna hurt people?
Well, I guess with the full transformation, you don't have as much control
Control?
or whatever.
Mm.
But I do like the little twist they had at the end where it was like, like, oh yeah, special effects, they can do anything these days. And this guy's on the end of the bar and he's like, no, dude.
That was
She
real.
turned into a fucking werewolf, and the guy's like, "Yeah, okay, dude, he's fucking wasted." And everybody's like, "Yeah, dude, he's drunk." And then he goes, how do you want your burger cooked?" And it's the chick.
Yeah.
Rare.
Rare.
and then they end on just cooking some meat. Pretty
Yeah.
wild, yeah. So, yeah, love the movie. I really gotta say, for me, American Werewolf in London.
I liked it better.
I liked it better, but here's the thing: if I have to pick, I like the werewolf from
Werewolf specifically.
Yeah, I like the werewolf in. I like the werewolf transformation in American Werewolf in London better, but
Right.
I even with the goofy ears, like werewolves belong on two legs. I'm sorry, they're bipedal. They belong standing up,
Yeah.
dog. Like they're
That's
not
fair.
because Joe Landis said he was going. John Landis said he was going for more of like a hellhound kind of vibe,
That's cool.
which is cool. But it's
Yeah.
but it's an American werewolf in London, not a hellhound in London. So fucking stand the fucker up. He can run on two legs, but then
Yeah.
he's got to be up on his hind legs, fucking people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not that big of a stickler on that, to be honest. Like, the ears fucking killed it for me. Like, I do like when they stand on hind legs a little bit better, but
Yeah.
I don't mind the four-legged creatures, you know? It's honestly, and like fucking weird to bring it up. I don't hate Twilight werewolves. I like Twilight werewolves. I think because
Oh,
they're just
they were on their hind legs, right?
no, they were four-legged.
Oh, they were the.
Yeah,
oh,
they
I
were
forgot,
just
yeah.
they were just giant wolves.
right.
They were just like basically like dire wolves.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a dire wolf, a hellhound, or whatever. It's not
Yeah,
a
I
fucking
guess.
werewolf.
I
Werewolves
guess.
are dudes who turn into a dude wolf.
I like that version. I like that version of werewolves too, though. It's
cool.
not like
It's
I
just
don't
not a
dis-
werewolf.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. It's still a werewolf.
But yeah,
There's
those-
still wolf creatures that are human that are turned. A dire wolf
Yeah.
is just a dire wolf.
I also disagree. The part that makes me not like. I mean, the ears are like, ugh, but
I
like
hate the ears.
But the thing I dislike the most about it, even though it's a cool idea of having a werewolf coven, I do not like the idea of like the conscious werewolf decision making thing. I always like the idea of because the whole point of
they
the
just
original,
Hulk out. Yeah,
right? It's the whole point of the original werewolf thing is
Mr.
like,
Jackal and fucking.
It's a man out
Dr.
of
Hyde.
control.
Yeah, it's a person.
It's like the Hulk with the like can't control your anger and all that type of shit. It's like it's such a great metaphor for so many things, and there's not really a whole lot of metaphor left
Yeah.
if you're just like, all right, now we're
We're
fucking
working on it.
They treat us like shit.
Maybe we
And
should
they
be-
tell us that we should be good boys like we were a werewolf.
your final decision here. You get to decide which one's better, which werewolf.
I want to go slight to the first one.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's actually very. I feel like it is.
It's a little
No,
bit
second
of a
one,
tough
second one,
decision.
second
Second
one,
one?
second one, barely.
Is
But-
it for the same reasons? A little more animalistic in the first one, but they're
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
real
Because
werewolves in the second
I
one.
feel like I naturally want to go with the first one because I did like the face more.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the overall
Yeah, yeah.
face.
I did like the face more too.
For sure.
Um,
yeah.
And like just the shading of it, the color on it looked cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just something.
There were some
It's more
shots that
menacing that he's like just squared up.
Yeah.
yeah.
But-
There's
Or
like
beat 'em
fucking
up.
diesel as
Square.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do like the hind legs better.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ears really like that's the one thing that I really like because it's like, is this a rabbit? What is this? What is this?
Oh,
Especially
man.
like if it's standing on 2 feet
Yeah.
and like it's just like fucking what happened to Bugs Bunny?
Bro, I can't wait for Easter. There's some crazy bunny horror
Oh,
that you
fuck
guys are
yeah.
gonna love. Yeah, it's insane. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so we're gonna end the way we always do, boys. We'll do budget and box office first, and then
Budget,
we'll do
box
Rotten
office.
Tomatoes. Whoever wants to start.
I'll do this one first. You do the second part. I'll
Okay.
go. Budget was way over. I'm going 20 million.
Okay.
No, 25 million.
25.
And budget, I mean, box office is. I think it will go 37.
37. Okay. All right.
What
and
was the budget on the last movie?
10?
10 million and it made 30, I think.
Okay,
Pretty sure.
So yeah, I'm gonna go because you said they went over budget. I'm actually gonna go 15 million.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the 90s.
Yeah, then they could go with the 90s, but this is Joe Dante.
True.
So he's probably asking for more money, and they were like, "Joe, come on,
You busted my balls.
you busted my balls, here, Joe." And then budget. It's hard because I know
Oh
American
wait, you
Werewolf
said 15's box office?
box
Yeah.
office.
Oh, okay.
No budget.
budget.
I think I don't know. It's hard because I feel like American Werewolf in London is more culturally relevant. Because I feel like I've heard more about American Werewolf in London than I've heard Howling, the Howling.
And even with all the horror knowledge I've had over the years, you know, and hearing so much about the Howling, I've only seen things come out of, besides like wolf transformation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen other parts of American Werewolf in London. But I hardly ever like those clip shows where they like talk about things. They don't even really show that much of the Howling. So
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's just because American Werewolf is easier to get a hold of. Like it was $6 to rent it on Amazon.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I mean,
It's
like,
the most
yeah,
you've paid for any movie. so
American
far.
Werewolf in London had like a Halloween Horror Nights house, and like I just feel like everybody knows that movie.
What the fuck? You paid $6 for that, and it showed a commercial before the credits, or was that the other movie?
No, that was because remember it we paused it and then it popped up like a thing we actually
Yeah. I'm okay. So I'm gonna go 25 million on
Okay.
box office.
25 million box office. This movie only cost $1 million.
Get the fuck out of
Isn't
here!
that crazy?
What the hell? What the hell?
That's insane. I mean,
What
That's
the hell? They were
wild.
tripping about him fucking going over budget, dude. Relax.
Right?
Bro, he came in so under budget.
What the
Yeah,
hell?
that's insane.
Yeah. He probably called up Roger Corman and he was like, "Hey man, I gotta make a fucking werewolf movie. How do I do it for this much money?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "That's too much money for you,
Well,
Joe."
everyone on American Werewolf in London was just like, "You only got $1 fucking million."
Damn.
Dude, it'd be so funny if it was just Roger Corman just calling up a studio and going, "Look, you gotta take. Don't give him 10 million. It's Joe Dante. You gotta give him less.
Gotta give him
Make
less."
something good." Because
Aren't you working on werewolf movie yourself? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But how much did it make, though? How much did it make?
It made $18 million, bro.
His buddy's like, "Tell him about the t-shirts." He's like, "Shut the fuck up."
Shut the fuck up, John Landis. Oh yeah, he somehow worked his way into someone else's conversation. Roger Corman's like, "What are you doing here?"
Shut up, dude.
All right, so Ray took it home with that one, buddy.
Really?
15 and 25.
Fuck yeah,
From- Dude, that's a killer turnover though. $1 million to
Rotten
18 million.
Tomatoes.
That
Rotten
is
Tomatoes.
good.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, let's do it. Hit
I
me.
want this shit, dude. All right, let me go. Fucking critics are gonna give it. I think this one, I know I was surprised by the last one. It was really high. I think critics, though, not as easy on this. I'm going 58.
Okay.
Audience. I don't think it'll be near critics. I think it'll either be way higher or way lower. I'm going to go 69.
Audience, 69.
dude.
69. And that's literally just because I genuinely believe that's the best number to pick right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally nothing to do with that.
All right.
All right.
And
So
Ray?
I'm gonna go 72 audience.
Okay, 72 audience.
And this movie felt like it had a decent amount of substance that I feel like a lot of critics would have been like, "Oh, this is great. Like, a lot of great themes going on."
Okay.
So I'm gonna go 83.
3. Well, boys. I love the idea that Sean waits for this vote. This is so funny. Okay, gentlemen, the critic score is 74%.
Ooh. What'd you say, Sean?
I think you were higher because I said 58. That's 16 difference for me.
And he
What'd you
said
have? 85,
so he gets that
Yeah,
one.
you were 11. Damn it.
And
Oh,
the
yeah.
audience score, oh man, boys, 60%.
69.
Ooh.
69. Wait,
69. Yeah,
you were
yeah,
72.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, when you did 72, I got
Yeah.
worried too
All right,
because you
boys.
prices right my ass.
I was trying not to because I was gonna go 70, but
You
I was
guys-
like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you guys split that one. So.
But you did
Yeah.
win 3-1 overall.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to us for filming our first under an hour episode ever, I think.
Yeah.
barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this part 1, part 2 thing feels like the right. I think we found the right mix of
Yeah.
the old style but better.
But better, yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And then doing a part 1, part 2 when we don't have a remake versus original.
Because I feel like in these episodes too, we talked about the movie a decent amount, and that's like the first times we were doing this, it was just like it was too loose, and we were hardly talking about the movie half the time. And like now we've kind of found a middle ground of like fun fact, jokes, fun fact, jokes, whatever.
That being
also, want to
said,
apologize. I have been sniffling a lot, and I feel bad. If you didn't listen to the first episode, I was clearly like fucking going through it, talking about being sick or whatever. And so this episode, I was sniffling, and I never pointed it out. And I'm so sorry if I sniffled into the microphone.
You did.
I did. I noticed it like halfway. I was just like, maybe I should turn away.
I burped into it like 10 times. So,
huh?
I probably burped into it like 10 times. I think.
Yeah.
We're good. So before
Sniffling grosser, you know. I'll try to cut as much out as I can.
So before we head out, make sure you check out our Patreon episode on Alien, the OG.
Which we have not recorded yet, but
by the time this comes out, theoretically, you will have it.
You should have it.
Make sure you check out the rest of our schedule for the month. We got a bunch of killer stuff coming up. Next week, we're going to have part 1 and part 2 of Vampires, where we talk about From Dusk Till Dawn. And what was the other one?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
There's so many vampire movies that we could do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vampire movies.
Tell you what.
Twilight?
You tell me. If we do From Dusk Till Dawn and Twilight, we'll get eaten alive.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe that's the attention we need, Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe you're onto something.
Dawn, isn't that like the name of the Twilight?
Oh, it's
movies?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire
We're
Slayer.
doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer and From Dusk Till Dawn, and then
we should do Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Underworld.
Nope. No. When we do dog shit versus dog shit later, we can do that.
Oh, okay.
Let's do Underworld, the sequel one.
Yeah.
Versus some other like random sequel.
I don't know why you hate the Underworld movies.
It's fine. They're not terrible. They're really action movies. They're not. I mean,
they're more action movies.
they feel more.
They're action
Blade
movies with like horror movie elements.
Right,
yeah. I mean, Blade same is
fine.
like horror movie elements, action movie though.
Yeah.
Which I would like to do Blade one day.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. We can do Blade versus Underworld. Hey.
There you go.
We have a Patreon episode coming out at the end of the month because Terrifier 3 is going to be coming out.
Yeah, so we're going to do Terrifier.
So we'll be doing Terrifier for Patreon. Also, October 30th, you will get part 1 of our final Halloween episodes, which is All Hallows Eve. Then on Halloween, you get part 2, which is going to be Trick or Treat. And then for Day of the Dead, you get Evil Dead. So much shit, and it's going to be so cool. So,
yeah. We got dates to plug. Me and Sean are going to be in Alaska.
Oh,
in November.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Alaskans.
The Alaskans.
Which part? Alaska's big.
Was it fucking Fairbanks? Is that what it's called?
Fairbanks, yeah.
Fairbanks. You know the name of the venue?
It's a dispensary.
It's Sean's show too. It's
Yeah,
he's headlining.
Don't worry, we'll have all this in the notes. Check the description for the show dates to go see Sean and Ray in Alaska.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to show. I don't know the details. I'll be honest.
We caught him off guard with that one.
Yeah.
I think it's next month.
He remembered to plug you.
Yeah.
You can check out me and our friend Ben Brainerd on the road. BenBrainerd.com for all those. I'll be opening for him. And besides that, check out our Patreon. If you're not already on there, you can get on there and you can see all the episodes for as low as $3 a month for audio, $5 for video. And you can also do a free trial for 7 days. So just, remember to cancel and you won't have to pay for it.
Yeah. And if you guys ever want to see us live, call you up your local comedy club and request us. And they'll say, how did you get my phone number? Please don't ever call again.
We want to say thank you to our patrons that we have right now.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Thank you to you guys. Our $5 tier, we appreciate you so much. And we got new stuff coming for you. Our $15 tier. Which is our friend Kelly. We're gonna let her pick for Christmas. We're gonna give her a Christmas present. So we're gonna let her pick a Patreon to talk about.
Oh, sick, nice.
Yeah,
okay,
and she's a huge horror fan, so whatever it is, it'll be fun for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of podcasts that will get any Patreons for like the first 50 episodes or so. So like to be doing this for 3 or 4 months now, and we've already got people like on board, we're super fucking appreciative of that.
And I realized that there's not as much Turner content on our producer is off camera.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to get him on board.
But
he's asleep.
Yeah, he's doing his job. But but I'll be putting more Turner content on the Patreon from now on. I guess I think that's the way to go with that. With Sean's blessing, we'll be using this dog to take your money.
That's okay. Go ahead.
We'll also probably make some Turner merch.
Ooh, if we end in 15 seconds, we can be under an hour.
Nice. Do it. End it.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Dude, nice.
Swallow this.